Hi guys, how you doing? A little bit earlier than expected this week, but it's Time to Talk week and it's also National Children's Day. So I thought it'd be a really good time to talk about how we talk to our children in the current climate. It's not surprising to hear that after the year that we've all had, the rate of mental health issues amongst young people has skyrocketed to scary proportions. We already had a generation of children who were struggling. Now it's pretty serious. So there is no more perfect time for any of us to work out how we might be able to help them with what is a history-defining moment, move past it into what will hopefully be a healthier future, mentally and physically, for all of them. Good news is, there's a lot we can do. My own son had a massive meltdown this week. Not my eldest one, my middle one, who is usually Mr. Chilled and Mr. Happy. He's got temper, he's my kid. But this was something else. This was the result of months of sadness and disappointments all coming out at once. And it was scary and awful to watch, and really, really hard to be powerless. As a parent, being powerless is the worst thing. If your kids are struggling, you just want to help, right? In that moment, helping him didn't look like what I thought it would. When our kids are shouting, when they're angry, when they're scared, when they're crying, what do you say to yours? Very often it's, calm down, it's okay, what you need, don't speak to me like that, I'll take your PlayStation, I'm not talking to you until you use the right tone of voice. All of those things are normal, and it's the way we were all raised as well, but this is a very different generation, and they are facing very different pressures to what we ever faced. So they need a different approach. It needs to be different. It's not about punishment and discipline, which, by the way, just means to teach. And if you're smacking down your kids' feelings by punishing them, the only thing you're teaching them is that their feelings are wrong. So what did we do? Even though it's the hardest thing I ever done, we sat with him. We sat and we waited. We made sure he was safe, and we really did have to work hard to prioritise that safety. He was determined to compromise it. We didn't try to talk to him. We didn't ask him for anything. A child in meltdown, a terrified, scared, angry, raging, frightened kid can't tell you what they need. They don't know. If they did, they wouldn't be in that state. We didn't ask him to try to talk to us. We didn't tell him he should have done it any different way. All of those things went through my head and my husband's. We didn't do that because we knew not to. We sat there and we waited. And then once he was done, we gave him a cuddle and some tea, and we sat him on the sofa, and we didn't talk about it again. I didn't ask him about it until the next day. And then I said to him, mate, what was that? And he said to me, I don't know, Mum. I'd just had enough. And this chill kid who's taken every disappointment with a smile on his face suddenly just everywhere. So I suppose the first lesson that I took from it was sometimes it's better not to talk. Especially not if it's going to be at your kid. Ask instead and wait until they're ready. If you think they're not going to talk to you, and very often they don't, by the way, teenagers especially like to think we're dickheads who have absolutely no idea how the world works and can't possibly help them with anything. It's good to get in a mentor, someone, a close family friend, or someone that they like, that they can talk to, and just let them talk about whatever they want. You don't need to know about that. You don't need to know what your kids say about you. If they call you a dick, that's fine. They call you a dick. My children know that I consider a successful job done when they can afford a really good therapist to complain about my parenting to. Once they've got that, I'm good. I'm golden. I have succeeded in my aims. They don't need to like me. They just need to listen. Give them someone to talk to. Let them get it out somewhere safe. If you're not hearing about it, it means they're all right. That person should be someone who you know will come to you. So if they're at serious risk of harm, they're going to tell you. They're not going to try and keep it secret. But everything else has to be theirs. Children and young people need privacy. And in this day and age where we've got access to everything, it's really difficult to give them that. I battle with this constantly. I can see everything my kids do. But I also know that my nights of hanging out in a field, pissed on white lightning with my mates, when my mum thought I was at Jane's house, were the best nights of my life, and I would much rather have had those than not. So there's this real argument constantly in how we treat them. Next, think about what you say around them. This year has been so scary for everybody. I know that, especially if you're a family who have shielding issues, or if you're a family who have finance issues, or if you are a family who maybe had big plans for this year and they got cancelled. It's been really, really awful. But sharing that with your children bluntly, without context, without the idea that there can be a future, is really damaging. So think about it like this, right? As adults, we've developed resilience and we've developed a concept of time. So we know that no matter how bad this is, it'll pass. Wars pass. Pandemics pass. Disasters pass. As awful as they are in the time, they pass and life continues. Children don't have that concept of time yet because they haven't lived for long enough. All they know is now and what's happening now. And it is absolutely true to say to a kid, look, if you go out and you break the rules, there's every chance you're going to kill someone in the family. That's true. But it's also terrifying. And where's the boundary there? Once a child is scared of that and carrying that personal responsibility, where do they find the line? When does that terror stop? When are they allowed to be children and be normal? Children need human connection. It's actually a vital part of their development. If we deprive children, all mammals actually, of intimate connection with other humans, it damages them for their whole life. So there has to be a balance. You have to be sensible about how you do this. Instead, give them power in the situation and empower them yourselves. Talk about what you can do, not what you shouldn't. So we can wash our hands. We can wear a mask. We can make sure that we keep a sensible distance. We can make sure that we do our very best to protect everybody we love. And that's all we can do. Outside of that, it's out of our control. Let's just enjoy the moments we've got together while this passes. That's a much healthier way of encouraging personal responsibility without scaring the living hell out of people who aren't old enough to understand that there is a context to this. Next up, try not to say to your child, I just want you to be happy. Oh, it's so normal, isn't it? We all want our kids to be happy. I want my kids to be happy. You want your kids to be happy. We all want our kids to be happy. But it puts an expectation on them completely without us meaning to. What happens then is when they are sad, when they are stressed, when they are scared, they don't tell us because they're scared they'll upset us. Oh, I can't tell my mum. She just wants me to be happy and this will kill her. I can't tell my dad. He thinks I'm really happy. And that's all they want for me. He worked so hard to get me to university. And if he knows I'm not happy here, he'd be devastated. Actually, we wouldn't. But our children aren't able to gauge our emotional reactions in that way. They hear the, I just want you to be happy. So they want to deliver happy. That's how that works. Take that pressure out. Flip it up. Say to them, I just want you to be safe and well. That's as much as I need from you. Everything else is your choice and your responsibility. It's a completely different style of parenting, I know, but it is effective and it does reduce some of that pressure. Think about how you listen to their opinions. Kids have opinions on everything, especially in this day and age. Some of them are boring and some of them are stupid, but they're their opinions. Adults have stupid and boring opinions too. The thing about opinions is they're a very short jump from problems. If we're not willing to listen to their opinions and respect them, they're not going to tell us their problems. Because why wouldn't we not respect those as well? Opinions, make time for your kids' opinions. Share their views of the world. Ask them what they think about climate change or Black Lives Matter or any of these things. You don't have to agree with them. Educated debate is the foundation of critical thinking. It's a good thing. But listening to them and letting them know you'll hear them on a level as equals is the foundation of them talking to you later on. And finally, a little bit of hope. This is a world where our children are in droves, requiring a mental and emotional support, are in droves running away, are in droves anxious, or harming, or challenged, or refusing to go to school, or a million other things. It is the hardest time to be a child right now. But what we do know is that the best precursor for a good outcome is a loving, kind, flawed, imperfect, but honest and present parent who made time to talk. See you soon, guys.